Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your continued support. Now this story isn't strictly about disability, so please let me know in the comments if you are okay for me talking about things like this. It is related to disability because obviously they want more people who are disabled to get back into work, but when you hear what I'm going to read out to you, you will understand why not only is it the lack of jobs that is causing a problem here, but it's also the way the DWP deal with people that is the big problem. So I'm going to read this article out to you now. Before I do, please do remember to subscribe to help push the channel forward and see videos like this every single day, hopefully. Let's take a look at the article and I'll show you what I mean. Right, DWP penalises universal credit claimant despite getting a new job. Congratulations, you're sanctioned. Beth was offered a job after 6 months of searching. She was over the moon, but her excitement was short-lived. The 23-year-old from Leicestershire had forgotten to apply for a different role suggested by her Department for Work and Pensions job coach, a condition of her universal credit benefit. Despite watching her receive the new job offer, Beth's DWP job coach issued a financial sanction. They, my new employer, rang me in there, so she, the job coach, saw me get a job, saw the smile on my face. Beth told the big issue, and then she decided to be like, oh, congratulations, yeah, I'm still going to have to make a report of the other job. The report triggered a 90-day freeze on her universal credit, longer than the 2 months she'd actually been receiving the benefit. I needed literally one more payment just to get me through that month before I started my job, Beth said. It made me so anxious to the point where I felt sick. I was like, how am I going to buy food? I was borrowing off my grandma, but she couldn't afford it and I felt so bad. I had to take a hardship payment, so the DWP, force you into that debt. Beth's story is far from uncommon. More than 600,000 universal credit sanctions were imposed in a year to end October 24, the most up-to-date rolling 12-month total that exists. These financial penalties issued by the DWP to universal credit claimants who fail to meet certain benefit conditions are intended to incentivise people to look for work, but experts say they do the opposite, pushing vulnerable people deeper into debt, anxiety and crisis. It can take a real toll, says Samuel Thomas, a policy expert at anti-poverty charity Z2K. They can be damaging. It seems like there is a problem in relation to the way the sanctions are applied. We do often see sanctions that seem to have been applied somewhat arbitrarily, which sounds like it was just the case here with Beth. There's not so much flexibility for claimants. It's very much kind of, you just apply for any job, tick the box and show you've complied with the rules, which there are some evidence to suggest does very little or is even counterproductive to helping people into work. Beth, who has CPTSD and anxiety, says the stress-triggered panic attacks are left her struggling with depression. It just makes you feel like a piece of... I can't say that word, she said. Despite having a documented mental health condition, Beth says her coach continued to suggest retail jobs and customer-facing roles that she felt unable to do and that would push her back into a mental health spiral. This, Thomas says, reflects a broader pattern. We did some research looking at claimant relationships with work coaches. One of the themes that came out of that was how a low level of trust between claimants and work coaches, and that a significant number of claimants had an experience of being given inappropriate work search conditions, being told to look for work that they couldn't do or in ways that were unsuitable. Now this for me is typical of why so many people don't trust the DWP, because when you even apply for a job and get the job, just because you haven't gone for the one they've suggested, you get a sanction. Now I'm sure that this work coach didn't have to report what happened. I'm sure that there is leeway there where they can say you don't have to report something if you feel there are mitigating circumstances. And I think in this case there should have been mitigating circumstances. She's got herself a job. She's no longer going to be reliant on universal credit. So why then give her a 90-day sanction on a job that, okay, she didn't apply for it when she should have done, but I would say in view of the circumstances she should have been let off. Anyway, let me know down in the comment section what you think about this. Do you feel that this process of sanctions is actually making the situation worse because it's forcing people to maybe apply for jobs they're not suitable for, or the DWP are suggesting jobs that they're not suitable for? Let me know down in the comment section what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you next time.